And hey, Rob, how's it going today?
Good. How's it going, Doug?
Doing pretty well here. It's early. I'm a little tired today. I'm not sure why I slept well, but it's again nighttime where you're at, right?
Yep. 5 past 9.
Okay. And it looks like you're in a different place. Do you want to share anything about where you're at now?
Yeah, we went from Thailand to Bali, so we've been here about maybe 3 weeks.
Okay. Cool. How is
So,
it there? Is it great like everyone says?
uh, honestly, I think we like Thailand better. Um, there's a lot to like, but there's a few things that are a little bit more challenging for us to get used to. The
Gotcha.
beach is nice.
Yeah, I can
Beach
imagine.
is cool.
Very cool. Well, I'm glad the internet seems to be working pretty well right now. So yeah, we got our fingers crossed for that. All right. So last time we had big plans, and I think we had a pretty tight sort of implementation plan for you to, hit certain check marks along the way. I think we should probably just recap what the plan was out of our last meeting. And you don't have to like go back to your notes or anything, but what were the top, three or four things that you were trying to do out of the last meeting?
Yeah, so it started with kind of what happened from the process we created for getting the writers to do more articles faster and the templates.
Sure.
So we had all these articles, um, and I wasn't used to posting them, the demand so much. So basically, I had like 30 plus articles just sitting there needing to be posted. So the next step was to create a system to get these into WordPress, kind of figure out like things that I do, how we do the meta description, the titles, the images, and everything together like that.
Got it. So we set up this system where you could hire more writers a little more effectively. So you hired the writers, and then you had them write all this content for a few different sites, I think, right?
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
then you had 30 articles that you actually didn't have time to publish or set up in the right way. So you were the bottleneck again, right?
That's a perfect way to describe it. Yeah.
Okay, so how did you feel when you were like, I have all this content, I want to rank these sites. What was going through your head?
I was really really stressed. Like when I have it just sitting there, it bothers me every single day that it's like this 30, 40 articles just sitting there, and just knowing like if I'm doing anything, I'm just like I need to be doing this.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so then one of the issues is I just wanted to go so fast, so I started doing it really fast and got stressed out, but then I realized like this is not the best use of my time. So
Okay. So back to basically feeling stressed out and a little overwhelmed. So obviously we wanted to take care of that. And really, when we take a step back, we were really just doing the same analysis on the system and really just wanted to document what you needed to do to post the content, um, find someone to do it, and then hire that VA so that basically we had like a process flow up until the point it was posted. I'm sure once we get this nailed, we're going to have basically another point of congestion, and we're going to have to figure out how to deal with probably ranking a website. But okay, so you were looking to hire a VA using the same sort of systems or sort of the same sorry, ideology and methodology to just get that documented. So I think you probably worked through a checklist. I kind of remember talking about a checklist. So how was that process to document, posting content?
in terms of like what needs to be done for each post and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. Did you find it, how long did it take you to write down the process? Because it seems like overwhelming when you think through everything, but was it really just like a 30-minute thing that you had to go through?
Uh, so yes and no. So there's a section of it that turned out to be like easy, just like I thought. Like if someone knew, this was a parent page or where, specifically what type of page this was, and it was like put a title, put a URL, clean it up. That whole process was okay, but it was sort of like them understanding the backstory of, okay, you're looking at this particular article. It happens to be a parent. What do you do then? Or we have a child page, or it's a post. You need a category. Like how that all started, the flow. That kind of tripped me up a little bit.
Okay. So how did you get through
Does
it?
that make sense?
Yeah, basically you had, you were worried about,
Contingencies.
yeah, maybe decision points. So you
Okay.
basically, yeah, so they had to look at something and identify it and then take an action based on what it was. So so yeah, basically you maybe didn't you could look at a page or a piece of content and know where it fit in the overall picture, but you were worried that a
Mm-hmm.
VA would look at it and miscategorize it, and then you have your whole site architecture uh, wrong, basically, right?
Yep.
Okay, and they could
So
that could cascade down and like screw up the 25 pieces of content would have the wrong like URL structure, right?
yeah, and so that was pretty much the thing that was kind of causing me the most mental stress was just how much do they know and what do they need to be given to sort of like trigger these, like you said, decisions along the way. So you asked me what I did. Um, it came down to basically just a kind of like a master template spreadsheet I created for, say, for one niche site, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to have the article, number, the title, the URL structure. Is it a parent? Like what type of page? Is it a post? Like basically just all the key main identifiers that you need. And then the way they were grouped, like they were kind of grouped together, so you knew that it was parent and a child all in a clump. So basically, it was a visual way where I could then start creating videos and a flow to explain this main sheet to them.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. Cool. So once you had it documented, you sent me some notes, so I'm just taking a quick look at that. Okay, so we're still really just looking at how you documented it all. So once you got a visual representation, then you felt comfortable doing a video and saying, this is how this part fits into our architecture of the whole site, right?
Yeah, and I really had a bit of a struggle coming to that, having this master spreadsheet with the key things. Like that was a hard time getting to that point.
Got it. Okay. So when I said, hey, maybe it was only like 30 minutes to put the checklist together, this site architecture was a whole other prerequisite piece that you couldn't even do the checklist because it didn't make sense without that representation of the site architecture. Okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
All right. So maybe it wasn't so easy.
Parts of
Um,
it were.
okay. Did going through the process like help you understand anything, I guess, about the site architecture? Was it now exposed now that you went through the process to explain it?
Yeah, like it was nice to see. I'm actually doing some cleanup work for some of my sites in the URL. It was nice to see because I was one of the things I didn't let the not going to have the VA do was the URL structure. So I kind of put this in the keyword research part where for the article I'm actually going to create the URLs. Um, so it was nice to see the entire site and what the structures look like because some of them kind of looked funny until I saw it all together. So
Got it. Okay, that makes
uh,
sense. Cool. All right. So I think basically, excuse me. So you documented everything. You took the time to look at the site architecture, document that. You're getting everything laid out so that you can go hire a VA. Is there anything else that you want to cover that happened prior to that, prior to
Yeah,
going out and hiring a VA?
yeah. Um, so I was also creating videos along the way.
Okay.
Um, and so one of the things that was a little bit of a struggle for me is I didn't really know. I've never hired a VA to post content, so it's kind of a mystery for me what the skills they possess. Never
Right.
really looked.
Yeah.
So I kind of came at it from the perspective that they're not going to be that talented. So I went a little overboard. Like I created videos for them to log into WordPress,
Oh yeah.
like how to add a page. Like I went like, so it's a good and a bad thing. Like I have a pretty comprehensive system where someone who barely knows about WordPress could pick this up and go.
Gotcha.
Um, but one of the things that happened was as I kept iterating on my process a little bit, I was like, oh, maybe I should add this to the main spreadsheet of key information that you need. Um, I would look back at an old video and I'd be like, I was showing it this way. Do you think that'll mess them up when they look at this video? Because now I've sort of changed the spreadsheet this way. So just kind of recutting some videos a little bit. But
Gotcha. Okay. So, and I think basically you'll end up finding that the VAs that you'll hire will probably like know more about WordPress than you do. So, I mean, it depends on who you're hiring, but if you're going through this rigorous process that we're talking about, like most likely they're going to be like a WordPress developer or something pretty good. So the talent level is pretty high, even for very reasonably, priced rates. So anyway, um, I don't think it'll end up being an issue because what happened when you finally got down to hiring a VA?
yeah, so once I put out the job posting and I had some screening questions and I think I'm always blown away as I look at VAs these days and they, they know their stuff. They're specialized and based on the way some of them were communicating to me back in the replies, they they can just pick up and run um, with the system pretty easily. So yeah,
Okay, gotcha. And okay, so basically, what happened? So you got some stuff back. You could take me to the narrative portion and where we're at today.
yeah, sure. So I was chatting over with my wife. She's helping me with a lot of these sites, and we pulled the plug on the VA right after the job posting. I took it down. I've had her next to me, basically posting these articles, going through the process, um, and it's been working really, really smoothly. So I am not posting any more articles, and they're just kind of on a schedule getting posted for me. So
Cool.
the way I want.
Got it. So, okay, so you kept it in-house. You ended up creating the system. You went through the whole thought process of the site architecture. It sounds like you discovered a couple things about some existing sites. So that wasn't a waste of time at all. You eventually created the checklist, right? She has a set of steps to go through for each of the pieces of content, right?
Yep.
Okay. And then you have the system, you just didn't hire an external person, you just kept it in-house. So you're saving money, you're able to get like instant feedback on the system and improve it. And if for whatever reason you need more help to post more content, you could actually have her show and work with the VA, and really you won't have to deal with it because you have the system in place and she understands it much better now than previously you probably would have had to manage the VA, but now you sort of have like another layer in there. So yeah, I think that's good. I mean, the main idea was you uh, won't have to post the content, right? So you solve that problem.
It feels good.
Nice. Anything else to add around like the positives? Or are there any drawbacks to it that you've seen now that you've been running with it for a couple days or a week or however long?
Well, the positives is when you have the person next to you, it's really easy to coach,
Yeah.
and make minor tweaks. But um, I'd still like to get to a point where maybe I come up with a system for how to create URLs and how to create the titles. I'm still holding on to those because I just can't quite let go. Um, I'd say that's the only drawback, but it's just a slight addition to finishing off like a keyword research for an entire project. So it's
Right.
minor. And
And
that's my own thing, not letting it go.
yeah, yeah. Well, and I guess, I mean, you end up doing that, or like when you're doing the keyword research, I imagine there's like keywords within the URLs, and it's, I, hmm. So when you set up your, we may be diving into another topic, so maybe we could table it if it's too much, but you end up having some silo structures from previous conversations. I know you and I design and architect sites similarly, so you have some silos, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you have a really sort of crisp flow of how you form those, or are you still trying to figure it out and that's why you still need to be in charge of it because you are still developing how that silo structure will be? Is that
Exactly. I'm
okay?
still,
Okay.
and that same goes for like URL structures and
Okay.
yes.
Perfect. Okay. And that makes total sense. So you don't have a set way to do it where you're going to repeat it over and over again. You're still developing your silo,
Learning.
okay, methodology. So
Yeah.
you haven't quite figured it out, but once you do, you probably can get rid of that because it'll be more of a formula and less of a, just art. You're putting it together the way that makes sense to you. So,
Yep.
okay, that makes sense. And similar to keyword research too. I mean, if there was a super, clean system, but you do have to go in and make some judgment calls, like looking at a list of 300 keywords or whatever, like you have to make some decisions along the way. So, okay, cool. Let's see. So at this point, I think we've covered where you are today. So at this point, what what are your stress points? What's given you heartburn in the system here?
um, let's go to PBNs.
Okay. Um, yeah, we could talk about that a lot. Good topic. So that could be for, our next session, we could sort of figure out like where we want to focus. I mean, do you know right now like what the pain points are with the PBN system that you're trying to get out there?
Yeah, I mean, it sort of kind of ties in with the keyword research where I'm still in the learning phase or the testing phase a little bit.
Okay.
Um, I mean, generally speaking, I know what a decent PBN looks like. I know how to check for spam and some metrics and
Hmm.
all that. But it can't, to do it the way I've done it, it's quite a manual process, and it does kind of the way I perceived it is a little bit as an art. There's some judgment calls that need to be made, but I guess how to take that to a system,
Gotcha.
to acquire
Oh, I'm sorry, say that again. To what?
to acquire
Okay.
PBNs.
To acquire PBNs. Okay. So, and just to be clear, so you mean to like go and get a pre-built one somewhere, or to like build out your own from, finding the domains all the way to like building links?
I guess finding domains as a process.
Okay.
Um, but it might not be fair because it's not something that I would say like I know the system or the system I want to use.
Right.
Um, so if we don't want to chat about that, I am interested in like having a system where getting VAs to take the domain and basically set it up the way I want to. So
Gotcha. Okay. I think we could definitely iron out like where we want to focus because um, it's a long process from beginning to end, and there are tons of opportunities to outsource pieces like in a black box fashion. So you go to a domain broker and you get the domains, and if you know you're going to be building a decent sized PBN or at least buying a few domains, you could have a relationship with a broker so they do all of that kind of stuff, and you just
mm,
I that's usually what I did because didn't I didn't want to learn how to do domain mining at scale. Other people could do it better than me, so I just outsourced that whole part, and then like setting up a domain, I would outsource a lot of that part once I had it clean. So yeah, there's tons of, well, like we looked at the niche site process overall in content. We could divide it up into pieces and make sure that we're tackling each piece at a time. But it'll be funny. You'll end up having like too many domains that you can't build out, or yeah, we'll find another bottleneck. But yeah, okay, that's good because really what it comes down to is you're going to have these sites built out, and then they're not going to be ranking, so you need to rank them, right?
that's right.
Okay, cool. All right. Any parting words before we finish up today?
Uh, no, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I know it's good to get a piece of stuff off your plate. I think you and I found similar solutions. My wife, sitting right over there, helps me a lot and actually did a lot with posting content, adding, all the stuff you're talking about, links, meta descriptions, putting in images, like going to Flickr, resizing images, renaming them and posting them, like every little step, all the stuff you're talking about. We developed something like that as well. And yeah, part of it is convenience for actually, coaching and the feedback and ensuring the quality throughout. But of course, even if we could hire VAs for $5 an hour, it still adds up, and it's nice to keep it in house if you have the time available. So um, anyway, we'll talk PBNs next time. We'll figure out exactly what we want to cover, and I like PBNs. I think they're still really effective, and I'm glad people aren't talking about them as much. I think it helps guys like you and I out a little bit. So, all right. Well, thanks for catching up, and we'll talk to you soon. See ya.
Yep, see ya.